Hey, what's up, guys? This is Will McGlynn Jr. and this is Will on Wednesdays. I first of all want to apologize because I haven't been on in a while. I just started a new job, and my daughters were both of my daughters graduated from college, and a whole lot of stuff has been going on in our family. Good stuff, not bad stuff. And so I've just been like really busy. And then, as a lot of you may know that follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I did my first bluegrass festival this past weekend. Played bass for a band called Clayton and Winslow, two good friends of mine. And it was funny because we were doing bluegrass, but they're both from a more rock and punk rock background. And then, of course, I'm from a gospel background, and what else? A little bit of jazz, not a whole lot. I don't claim to be a jazz musician at all, um, but I have played some jazz events and stuff like that. And then from, of course, CCM background. So it was very interesting, our mix. And then we had a couple of, well, the band had a great drummer, Robbie Hargett, and then had another guitar player, Jeff. I can't remember Jeff's last name for anything right now. And then the singers. So it was a great time. But what I wanted to touch on today real quick, I'm not going to be on long, and I know I always say that, but this time it's for real, because I'm on my lunch break and I only get a few minutes, 30 minutes, so that goes by quick. But I want to talk about the danger of comparison and comparing yourself with others. A good friend of mine, Brandy Hargett, her and her husband, Steve Hargett, are both ministers, pastors at the church that I attend. And she ministered for Mother's Day a few weeks ago. And she was going to do like a run through when I came in for rehearsal on Sunday morning. And the first thing I heard her say was how dangerous it is to get into comparison with other people. And that like really struck a chord with me, because I'm not like I've never been like a super competitive type person, but I'm human, so of course I, fall into the trap of comparing myself to other people sometimes, whether it be, physically or, financially, or whatever the case may be, where you are at a certain place in life. And that can be a motivator, but it can also be something that is very dangerous, because it can cause you to get over into envy, into strife, all sorts of things. So I've always tried my best to stay away from comparison. But like I said, I'm a human, and it happens sometimes, especially in this age where we have social media. And it seems like everything that you see on there is, or all the people, the quote unquote influencers that you see, even people that you may know, seem to be doing so great in life. And then you compare that with where you are, and then you start saying, well, why shouldn't I be there? And that type of thing, so you can get caught up in a vicious cycle if you're not careful. And so when she said that, it struck a chord with me, because it's very easy to fall into that trap. And so, I wanted to talk about that today, how important it is not to get into comparison with other people on other things. And then, like I said, I did the being a musician, especially, I guess just being a musician in general, it's a very competitive profession, and even if you're just doing it as a hobby, because like I said, with social media these days, you get to see all these people that can play like circles around you sometimes, and then like even like 8-year-old kids that can play circles around you. And it should be a motivator, if you look at it with the right intent and it with the right spirit, but a lot of times it can become something of a discouragement. And so that's one of the things I want to talk, wanted to encourage people about. When you see stuff like that, not to look at it with when you see, what's the word I'm looking for, posts on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that of people that are doing things that are similar to what you're doing, the similar genre, or whatever the case may be. Be careful just to take it with a grain of salt, because you don't know. Somebody could be look like they're doing great as musicians. I heard Reggie Parker talk about this a little bit, and he's a bass player that I've always admired, because he used to play for Hezekiah Walker and the Love Fellowship Choir back in, when I was first learning how to play. And I mean, he was dropping some wisdom about that. And Reggie, I really appreciate you if you ever get to watch this. If not, somebody tell Reggie I appreciate him, because he drops a whole lot of wisdom as far as musicians and the music business is concerned, and life in general. But it's my encouragement, or I want to encourage you, continuing on the path that you're on. Continue to be true to where you are. Continue to be true to yourself. Because on social media, we all know, or we all should know, that people only allow you to see what they want you to see. I mean, that's how I am. I only allow people to see what I want them to see. I don't tell people everything that's going on in my life. I tell people, and social media, you get highlights. Sort of like if you're growing up in the 80s, I guess 80s and 90s, in high school and college, we had these things called Cliff Notes. I don't know if they're still popular now, but the Cliff Notes were like a synopsis or a summary of whatever material or subject that you were studying, or trying to, a book you were trying to read, or whatever. So a lot of times what we see on social media is really just Cliff Notes of people's lives. And we got to be careful not to get so caught up in their Cliff Notes and comparing ourselves to their Cliff Notes that we start to become discouraged about our own life, our whole life, when we're only watching little clips of their lives, and not to down anybody else's progress. But a lot of times you see people riding in nice cars, I remember what's the name? Oh, I can't remember the artist's name. Oh, I think it was KB, the gospel hip hop artist. He had a line in his in one of his songs, because for a while, and I think they still do, a lot of these rappers and thugs on Instagram and Facebook like to take a big stack of money and hold up to their ear like they're talking on a phone, money phones or whatever. And he said, a lot of times the money phones are just money loans, and that's all the money that them people have. So they trying to make you think that, I got so much money I can just, play with it like this. But they, you don't know if that person went to the bank and, had to take out all their money just to stunt that or flex that one time. And they may have that kind of money, but what business is it of yours? What's that got to do with you? Unless they're trying to show you a legitimate way that you can reach that level. That's the only time I really take, I guess, posts like that seriously. If people are genuinely trying to show you how you can better your life or get to that level. Even with musicians, it's musicians that I follow, and I encourage everybody, especially when it comes to music. I hats off to anybody that can learn an instrument and can play it, even if they don't play it as well as I think I play mine, because I don't play mine as well as some people play that. But there's always going to be somebody better. But my hat is off to anybody that takes time out to learn an instrument, to hone their craft, and do what they have to do to make that instrument that they're on sound good. So even if it's something like that, if somebody is on social media and then, you know, they're doing all these crazy runs, all these solos, don't get discouraged from it. Take it for what it is. Use it for inspiration if that's something that you're trying to attain to, aspire to, I'm sorry, and leave it at that. Don't watch it so much and take it so seriously that it starts to bring you down because you can't do it. I've been there. I've got caught in that trap. Like Brandy Hargett said, comparison is a thief of joy. I love my joy. I love my peace, and I don't want anything, and I refuse really to let anything steal either. Sometimes things come, you know, and I get discouraged because I see somebody doing something that I wish I could do or I would like to do. And of course, like I said, being human, sometimes you get down. But I always go back to the thing, or to the saying, and that rings in my ears, that Brandy said, comparison is a thief of joy. And so back to the bluegrass thing. So it just I really enjoyed the bluegrass convention or festival, because being a musician, a lot of, especially in the gospel and jazz genres, the big thing is competition. I'm better than you, I got more chops than you, whatever the case may be. But I saw something at the Bluegrass Festival that I'd never seen in the music industry since I've been playing in public for the first time. And I saw, like, when bands got off the stage, and in the gospel industry, you know, after you got off the stage, you're looking at the next group, or the group that went before you, you know, everybody comparing themselves to each other. And there's more of a sometimes a spirit of contempt comes, that people, you know, or a spirit of pride and arrogance that shows up, that's like, ooh, really? And since I'm not a competitive type person, I just kind of steer clear of that type of stuff. But at the Bluegrass Festival, it was different, because guys came off the stage, they did their thing, awesome musicians. Every musician that was on that stage was awesome. But they would come to like a different part of the festival, a different area away from the stage, and just sit down and start fellowshipping with each other, and playing with each other, and teaching each other, and just enjoying music with each other without the air of competition. I didn't see any air of competition at this place. And everybody, there was like it was like a breath of fresh air, man. It's like a feeling of joy there, because there was no competition, you know, on or off the stage. Everybody loved everybody. Everybody was patting everybody on the back. Everybody was encouraging everybody. I met some great people, and, you know, I can't wait to do it again. It may be different next time, but I just know that was my experience this time. And that's what brought me to talk about, you know, comparison. Because nobody was comparing themselves to the next guy. They just did what they did. If somebody asked them to show them something, they showed them. And then they just sat down and started playing and having fun. And that was it. And so there was a spirit, a feeling of joy in the air, and, you know, camaraderie, because there was no comparison, there was no competition. And, you know, that's just something that hit me. So like I said, comparison is a thief of joy. Stop comparing yourself to everything you see online, comparing yourself to your neighbor if they get a new car, comparing, you know, let it go, man. Just, you know, if you see, I got tongue tied. If you see somebody that's doing great, celebrate with them. You know, cheer them on. And if they're doing something, or if they have something if they're doing something that you want to do, they reach a level that you want to reach, or if they have something that you would like to have, don't covet it. Just celebrate them, cheer them on, and get back in your lane and formulate your plan and work your plan and watch what God does with it. You know, so that's my 2 cents. My lunch break is almost over. I'm sorry if y'all felt like I'm rambling, but That's just how my mind works, man. And I love it. I love the way my mind works. And my wife always tells me I have a brilliant mind. I'm starting to believe her. Miss Kelly, your fine self. Woo! So anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll be back next week. I'm gonna do my best to be back next week. Hopefully life allows me to be back next week. So this is Will McGlynn Jr. It's Will on Wednesday. I love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Share if you heard something that helped you out. And if you get a chance, comment, because it helps my algorithm. And if you get a chance, or when you get a chance, because you always got a chance, go over to our marriage page, Marriage with the McGlyns, on YouTube and on Facebook. And, check out some of the content there. Because if you're married, my wife and I have been married for 36 years. And I think we might have something to say that can help somebody. So, with that being said, I'll talk to y'all next week. This is Will McGlynn Jr. Peace. Oh, thumbs up.